Welcome to a video that can help you figure out if you need a game in 10 minutes or less. Good morning, afternoon, and evening, everybody. My name is Miahtheking, and fun fact, did you know Ewan McGregor, who played Obi-Wan in the prequels, has a brother in the Royal Air Force with the call sign Obi-2? Now then, thank you for sticking around and checking out my video. Today we're taking a look at a game just released on Steam called Hotel Galactic, a hotel manager simulator kind of game with a quirky, cutesy art style. Developed and published by Ancient Forge, released in early access and selling for $35. So what even is this game, and is it even worth it? Well, to be blunt, you're a hotel manager, shock of all shocks, but it's a bit different. Here you're a spirit, a ghost, a ghoul, a pair of eyes for all I know, but they call you a spirit. Anyway, you just kind of show up and take over this hotel for some reason. It's a bit rundown and it has a long history of sadness, at least that's what the Elder Ghost is making me think, and now with your help they can finally rebuild and recreate the epic hotel that it once was. I guess sometimes all you need to spruce things up is a traveling spirit. And for now, that's about all I got. So let's dive into this sucker and get to why you're here in the first place, alright? So let's first talk about the most obvious, pleasant surprise of the game, its graphical design. I knew it would be interesting and different from the Steam store page, but it doesn't do it justice. The game looks freaking amazing. I absolutely love the artistic design here. The color contrasting, the attention to detail, the color choices, the works. It all looks great and feels very pleasant and cute and easy on the eyes. With great animations, lighting effects, water effects, and even physics, the game just looks good all around. And while playing, you really get that whole wonder and merriment feel as you see majestic creatures just flying in the background. And then there's the up-close and personal aspects of the graphics, where in some cases, in some games, it would show its lack of quality and detail, but not here. Here, it looks just as good up-close as from far away with just as much detail. Creative excellence and overall quality effort. Next up for the positives is the sound design. The music is perfectly pleasant, but unfortunately a little forgettable, but it does its job fairly well enough, at least for me, to keep it in the positives. The sound effects sound cutesy and quirky as your little worker bees go around completing their chores, and don't even get me started on the voice acting. What the actual hell was that? I have no idea what that was, but it legit made me laugh out loud when I first heard it. It's just so silly and ridiculous. I mean, at first I was annoyed, but then I thought it just had to be done on purpose, and then it just made me laugh later on, and I moved on from it. It fits everything else in this game, let me just say that. Now let's move on to the gameplay, since this is what you'll be doing forever and spending all your time on, and let's face it, this is what you really want to know. Sound and graphics is great and all, but gameplay is where it's at, so let's just dive right into it. Like a lot of hotel management games, it's the whole 2D side-scrolling thing where you manage each room, build new rooms as needed, manage your supplies and your employees. So far, pretty basic. However, in this game, they actually went a step further, which is always encouraged and pleasant to see. How exactly? Well, let's talk about it. First, they have up-close zoom-ins of conversations you can have with the staff of the hotel. Help them with little quests and requests, get to know them, etc., etc. And with your dialogue choices, there are actually consequences. Hell, in one dialogue choice, I actually chose what the whole theme of my hotel would be. With another one, I inadvertently decided what color scheme my lobby would have. But they kept going further beyond that. For instance, when you have to manually craft the items for a room and then get to place them in said room. While doing this, you can rotate and place things as you see fit to literally create the exact room layout you want after having that room built. And a plus to that is that it feels right. It's seamless, it's intuitive and comfortable, and it works fairly well. And I don't know why, but I just love to watch the rooms being built. It soothes me. There's more, of course. You have to manually change the sheets of your guests' beds and tell your employees to wash them. You also get to create your own recipes in the kitchen, add them to the menu, choose how much to charge for them, and then a guest can order from the menu and your employees will cook it and deliver it to them in the dining room. You can order your minions to gather resources, craft new items, and even have them equip different things like tools, backpacks to increase their carry capacity, and even funny little outfits or hats, which unfortunately I did not yet find. With a music box you can add to the lobby and custom music, researching and adding different rooms and gameplay functions. There was just so much depth and creativity in the gameplay here that, despite it being a simple hotel simulator game, I couldn't even explore it all throughout my playthrough. It was crazy how much was here, but what was crazier was how well it was all designed and implemented. I'd love to go into more, but I've already spoken enough about this and taken up a lot of time. Just know I didn't get to all that's offered here, and for what I did experience, it was all phenomenal. Next up for the positives is the user interface, tutorial, and stability. For an early access game, I was surprised. If you didn't tell me, I'd have assumed it was fully finished. The game just ran that smooth without any bugs or glitches at all that I discovered, which definitely improved my overall enjoyment of the experience. The tutorial is short, sweet, and to the point while also not being invasive, as well as having a tiny little video with each tip to further help you understand the gameplay and get comfortable with it, all while doing it in the form of being parallel to a story that introduces you to the world itself. As for the user interface, it's just as charming as the rest of the game, without being annoying, confusing, overcrowded, or frustrating in any way. Easy to navigate and understand, which also helped improve the gaming experience. So, those are the only things I can really think of to say positively about the game, at least those that I felt were big enough or worth mentioning. Now I gotta go into the negatives about the game, but first allow me a moment to humbly request your support. I'm trying really hard to get to 5,000 subs, and while that seems pathetic to many, it'd be an achievement for me. After all, I never thought I'd even get this far, and I'm already excited about the future prospects. So consider subscribing or commenting or liking to help me out. I'd really appreciate it. Now then, on to the negatives. So, the first negative was the writing. It's a bit all over the place, lacking in depth, lacking in exposition, lacking in any real charm or creativity that matches the rest of the gameplay feel. It's kind of just bland, and a bit lacking, especially in terms of how charming the rest of the game is, as I briefly mentioned. Honestly, I just didn't care all that much about the characters, or even the world or lore at all, simply because it was just badly represented. Also, in the opening cutscene, the spoken dialogue doesn't always match the written dialogue.
人々はその存在を星の巡礼者と呼ぶ。
As well as throughout the game having poor punctuation and whatnot. It does need a bit of work. It wasn't awful, but it was noticeable enough, and hopefully can get rather cleaned up later on in its development. The next negative I noticed was the overall speed of the game. The progression is rather slow, honestly. Now, perhaps as you get more staff or get a few more streamlined processes introduced, it may introduce faster gameplay components or something, but what you're seeing now is on 2x speed, which is the fastest the game can get to. Now, honestly, in my own opinion, this isn't really that big of a deal, as I'm fairly confident that as your hotel gets bigger with more stuff and people, you'll be fairly preoccupied with other things to deal with, this kind of thing, thus helping with the overall slow passage of time, but it's kind of involved in every little detail, and I still think it needs a bit of work. I mean, every time I asked my staff to do something, it always felt like forever to actually get them to do it, and since most things come in stages, that makes a single chore overall that much more lengthy to get through, thus tying them up from doing anything else. Not a huge complaint, but yeah, still felt like I needed to mention it. Now you might be wondering why I haven't yet mentioned the price, and I'm not too sure if I wanted to put this in the negative, but I definitely didn't want to put it into the positives. Basically, here's the thing. I'm pretty much most of the time against early access games going above a certain price point. Gonna show my age here, but back in my day, game developers actually used to pay people to test their games for them. Now it's the other way around. What used to be a system to help indie developers secure funding so they have what they need to create a game that nobody else would produce has turned into that only being 50% of the time, and the other 50% of the time is just using the fans to help beta test your game. So, seeing a simple early access game charge a certain amount for an unfinished, possibly broken game that might never even be finished is always a bit of a sour spot for me. To see this game released for $35 is just a bit much in my opinion. I think $30 or less would be a lot more appropriate, but I could maybe get behind $30 from how much effort and charm there is here. Maybe bump it up to $40 when it's fully released, for instance. I mean, it's a minor gripe and mostly a personal opinion, but that's just how I feel. I feel like despite the charming graphics and sound design, it is still in early access, which always carries a certain risk factor. But that may just be me. Regardless, more of a minor complaint than anything. So, overall, what do I think? Well, honestly, I'd recommend it. Yeah, I think it's a really quirky, charming little game. The word of the day today is charm, if you haven't noticed, and this game has it in spades. Despite how cutesy and innocent and adorable it seems, there is just that charm about it that really pulled me in. With really intense, in-depth, interesting gameplay, a unique take on the whole aspect of you actually being involved and not just a camera, the depth, the drive, the inspiration, and the overall promise, and I can't help but recommend it. I still feel like it may be a bit pricey, but if someone tried to defend its price tag, I'd be hard-pressed to refute it, since there is such a shit ton of quality here. So, yes, I recommend the game. You could wait for a discount, but honestly, if you didn't, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. It doesn't feel like a ripoff to me. It's a great simulation game and an amazing foundation for something truly special later on down the line in development. It might just be a good idea to invest now because it already has enough content to keep you occupied for a weekend, I think, and I'm sure it'll add a lot more. So, yes, I recommend. Go check it out. It's a really good hotel simulation game with clearly a lot of love and dedication put into it. Alright, so that's all the time I got for this video, everyone. Thanks so much for watching, with a special thanks to those of you who stuck around to the end. If you have any questions or concerns, please let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I can't wait to see you all again on my next adventure. So until then, I bid you all farewell.